The games in the Classic Tetris Monthly seem to just be getting better and better every month, and the September 2020 main event was no exception. This is gonna be my best crack at covering the highlights. And if you want to watch the full broadcast, you can find it on Twitch. They're currently a little backed up on YouTube, but I'm sure they'll get it up eventually there too. So let's begin. The drama started, of course, before the tournament even began, when Eric got one of the top 4 highest qualifying scores ever, one Tetris shy of 1.3 million. But he wasn't even the biggest story of the qualifiers, as Dog continued to shock the scene by getting back-to-back 1.3 million qualifying scores in consecutive months, now completely owning the top qualifying scores of all time. Dog and Eric led the pack of an incredible top 16 lineup yet again. Notably missing this time around were the 2 all-time CTM greats, Corian and Joseph. Perhaps under more pressure than ever before to rack up a massive score, they both weren't able to get max outs and didn't make the main bracket this month. And there's actually something new I'm able to feature now: pre-tournament odds. Over on the Classic Tetris Monthly Discord server, there's been a massive coordinated effort spearheaded by Rory to create a Classic Tetris power rankings based on the ELO rating system originally developed for chess. Fully explaining it is beyond the scope of this video, but basically it uses the database of thousands of previous matches to determine the strongest players based on who has beaten who. Once the ratings for each of the players have been sorted out, the system can be used to make predictions for head-to-head matchups. And over a large sample size, the ratings have been pretty much spot on, consistently getting an accuracy within 2% or less. You can read more about it on the FAQ page, which I'll link below, but to cut to the chase, these were the odds. Dog and Nenu were the significant favorites, both hovering well above 20% odds, followed by Richard and Alan at around 10%. Jake and Eric, despite being 2 of the best players in the bracket, had surprisingly pretty low odds. Why is that? Well, they had the unfortunate luck of having to face each other in the very first round. But that doesn't mean they still didn't put on a show. In fact, they might have had the best finish to a Classic Tetris match of all time. After some crazy moments early on, like, come on, this is Eric's board here, and then he somehow gets out of it. Just how? Anyways, by game 4, Jake has a 2-1 lead, but both of them are in a virtual dead heat on level 27. 2 lines and a fraction of a Tetris apart. Jake is going to take a double to go into level 28 here, and then get a Tetris to take a 1.5 Tetris lead. Eric is trying to wait things out and resolve an L dependency here. Jake sets up a delayed burn with a T, and is going to be able to solve it once he gets the second T. Eric gets a Tetris to pull just about even again, but Jake is going to get one back and maintain a 1 Tetris lead. He's got 1 line until the kill screen now. Eric gets another Tetris, Jake clinging to a very small lead. Jake almost takes a delayed burn with the L before he realizes that would take him into the kill screen, and there's the Tetris for Jake, and with a couple burns he gets the max out. Now is going to try and pad his lead as much as possible, and Eric has transitioned to his center well, and Jake is setting up a T-spin on the left, and he can't get the T over, misses the spin, and Eric is getting droughted, and somehow Jake has gotten things open again and nails the T-spin on level 30. Eric gets it clear for the kill screen Tetris, but Jake still has a small lead, and unbelievably, Eric is set up for another center well Tetris on level 30, and he's Tetris ready. Jake is grinding out singles on level 31, and Eric blocks his well with an L. That could be it, and can't get any more burns, is going to top out, and Jake is going to win this one by 1/3 of a Tetris to advance to the top 8. He did not get the points he needed until midway through level 30. This is one of those high-profile matchups that's legitimately lived up to the hype and created a bit of a tough act to follow, but the top 8 had some good games too. A close highlight runner-up would probably be Brenden versus Dog, where Brenden was down over 100,000 points at the transition, and by the kill screen had over a 100,000 point lead with almost a 1.1 million score. An insane 200,000 point swing after the transition, en route to taking out the #1 seed in 5 games. But probably the craziest finish of the round happened between Sodium Overdose and Zefania Nenu. Sodium Overdose is in a comfortable spot in the series, leading 2-0, but it's looking pretty grim for him this game. Not only does Nenu have a massive 5.5 Tetris lead, Sodium's board is an absolute shambles. It's going to take basically a miracle to survive. But amazingly, he's going to get what he needs to get in position for a crucial long bar hypertap, and suddenly Nenu's board is looking awkward. Now has an uncomfortable tower in the center, and Sodium's building up for a crazy high dirty Tetris and gets it, staying alive, and Nenu has an L snag on the right side of his tower, and that's gonna cause a top out and give Sodium a chance. He's on level 26, so he has some time, but is only set up for a triple on the left. He's gonna have to burn it down and get into position, and has to make it long bar dependent again. Finally gets the long bar, so he needs 4 Tetrises, and there's one. He has a few lines he can burn, but not many. He's gonna slowly build up here in position. One more piece will get him Tetris ready. Okay, now he's Tetris ready. Gonna have to take another double there. Still waiting, sets a big tuck. He's trying not to burn and hangs an L, trying to tuck. That's gonna be a huge problem. Still trying not to burn. Finally gets a long bar, needs 2 more Tetrises now, but his board is not in good shape. He only has 1 more line he can burn. Is going to set up for an incredible dirty Tetris here. Finally gets it. Only 1 Tetris to go, but there's his last burnable line. The kill screen's in 1 line, and he just has nowhere to build for the final Tetris. Sodium comes all the way back, digging out of incredibly tough situations and never giving up, but falls just short to Nenu. But Sodium's perseverance would be rewarded in the next game as he won to advance to the semifinals and face Jake. And while they had some good games, with Jake eventually winning, the highlight of the semis has to be Alan versus Brenden. It hadn't been an easy road for Alan this month, having to fight back from being down 2-0 versus Cheesefish in round 1, but here he was now in the semifinals for the 5th month in a row, facing off against Brenden. After trading some blows, they were all tied up 2 games apiece for a Game 5 decider. In the middle of level 27, they're separated by less than a Tetris with only a 1-line difference. Alan strikes first with a Tetris to up his lead to 1.7 Tetrises, but Brenden gets one right back. Both players have perfect stacks, trying for no burns. Alan gets some tough parity and looks like he couldn't quite decide what to do with the square, sets up an unresolvable overhang and is going to have to take a double. Alan cleans things up and retakes the lead with the Tetris, and now Brenden makes a hole to avoid creating a dependency on the left and takes the lead right back. With that burn though, he has only 1 Tetris left. Alan just trying to keep his stack manageable, both players trying to get their final Tetris, and Brenden is getting droughted. Gets an untimely square, trying not to burn and keep things open, gets a Tetris to hit the kill screen. Meanwhile, Alan has misdropped on the left, is going to need a long bar now and gets the long bar for a final Tetris, but it isn't enough. Brenden is going to win by 4,000 points, barely a 1/10 of a Tetris. Before things started, he was given a 0.6% chance to win the tournament and only a 7% chance of making the semifinals. And here he was, about to take his first trip ever to the finals, to face off against none other than Jake. Or would he? Unfortunately, in the first game of the finals, Brendan's internet went out completely for a little bit. So tournament organizer Van Dweller made the executive decision to call in substitute players, Moodus and Moodus, who are locked in a neck-and-neck match shortly after the transition. Moodus has a small quarter of a Tetris lead, but also has a more difficult board. He's going to need to resolve that long bar dependency in the center. And we're off! It looks like Moodus is going for the dirty center roll Tetris. He's gonna skim a line there, but oh no, 2 very untimely S pieces. He really would have loved a Z or a T much better there to resolve his left, and oh my gosh, he's just getting S-bursted, going to cover as well and top out right as the long bar comes. But it's not over yet. He's still got a small lead, and after that single by Moodus, he only needs 800 points, and oh my goodness, with that single he's tied. He only needs another single or push down points to take this one, and it doesn't look like he knows. He's trying for a center while Tetris and is also getting S-bursted. He's going to top out, and it's a tie. And a first for any of the highlights I've covered. We have a 0 Tetris difference. Just incredible. According to CTWC precedent, if a game is a tie, it's basically like it never happened. So neither Moodus nor Moodus were able to win an extra game for Brenden or Jake. And after Brendan's internet came back on, the finals resumed. After Jake took a commanding lead 2-0, he wasn't taking it easy in Game 3, being just on the border of max out pace in level 28 with a large 4 Tetris lead. It's not over for Brenden though. He's all the way back on level 26 and has time to close the gap. And things are gonna start off with Brenden and Jake trading Tetrises. Jake is not letting up. Brenden is probably gonna have to play perfect until the kill screen. Gets Tetris ready and gets a Tetris to drop down the lead to about 3. Jake is Tetris ready, but is not gonna get the long bar in time. Gonna have to create a couple couple holes and take some burns, which could be Brenden's opening. He's got a double wide well, but he would love to not have to burn. Unfortunately, it looks like it's gonna have to happen. So Brenden takes some burns and gets a Tetris while Jake gets his final Tetris into the kill screen and isn't burning things down. He's trying for a kill screen Tetris, but he gets droughted. That probably would have been the game ender. So now it all comes down to Brenden. He's gonna need a kill screen Tetris or serious kill screen survival to have a chance, and Brenden's Tetris ready, but he has to create a hole. He can't set up for another Tetris, so he's gonna opt for kill screen survival. And he's making it happen, burning things down, and misses the tap with the L on the left. Gets a longboard over, gonna try and skim, misses another burn with the L, and it's getting too high. That's probably gonna be it. And Jake takes game 3 with barely a 1 Tetris difference for yet another Classic Tetris Monthly title, continuing to solidify his status as one of the best in the world. And as always, I reached out to interview both of the finalists. Jake, thanks so much for coming on.
No problem.
So, did you have a favorite game or match from this month?
Definitely game 4 with Eric. That one was definitely a stressful time. I've never really had a match like that, so it was honestly like one of the favorite matches I've ever played, let alone just in the CTM.
Yeah, so what was going through your mind after the kill screen in that game? Did you know how close it was?
Kinda. I remember looking over when I was around like 239 lines. I knew that he had a giant center well built up going into 29, and there was chances that he could probably get like 1 or 2 more Tetrises in Killscreen, and that was like really stressing me out because I already had a bad board. I was like, okay, I am unlikely to win this one, so I sort of just had to go ham on Killscreen, I guess.
Yeah, how did you manage to dig out of that board on level 30?
I don't really know, to be honest. Usually I don't get taps that fast. I think a combination of the fact that I was so nervous was I was shaking the entire time. I don't even think I was really tapping anymore. I think my body itself was just eternally 25 hertz tapping.
So you're joining Corian and Joseph as one of only 3 players to ever win 3 or more Classic Tetris Monthlies. So like, which one of your 3 titles felt the hardest to get?
Definitely this one. My first CTM win was, honestly, it was terrifying. I had to go through a lot of good people. I had to play Nenu, I had to play Bubble, but I felt like since I already knew I wasn't going to win, or at least I thought I wasn't, it wasn't too stressful. Like, I sort of went in with no expectations. My second CTM win, I wasn't really scared. My opponents were not like Corian, so I wasn't really scared that I was gonna lose. I didn't feel like I had much on the line. But this CTM, I've sort of like lost in round 1 like the past 5 CTMs. So I was sort of trying to prove myself, and getting Eric in round 1 was not an easy matchup, so it was pretty stressful for me.
Well, in addition to your Tetris skills, you've also done some programming, and you've actually made a program that I've been using in my videos. Did you want to talk about what it is?
Okay, so the Tetris block tool and the Tetris board tool, I've sort of merged them into one, the Tetris block and board tool. The block tool allows you to draw boards. It's like a little bit of a tile editor, so you could have like changeable block types. You can change the score, the next box, the lines. It's sort of for drawing situations you couldn't exactly put into words, or if you weren't recording, or you saw someone else that had a board and you wanted to see what other people would think of it. And the Tetris board tool, it randomly generates boards and gives you 2 pieces, a current piece and a next piece. And you're able to place the pieces on the board. And it's sort of meant for brainstorming and practicing stacking, because in-game you don't really have a lot of time to think about a lot of moves, and you're probably going to be stacking the same way every game. So you're not going to get too many different situations. So the board tool is really good for like thinking outside the box and getting situations you normally wouldn't get into. And I think it's really good for practicing.
Awesome. Well, there will be a link in the description if anyone wants to download it. Thanks again for coming on, and good luck in the CTWC this year.
I'll do my best.
Brenden, thanks so much for coming on.
It's an honor, man. Nice to see you.
You too. So did you have a favorite game or matchup from this month?
It's a tough choice between Game 3 against Dog and Game 5 against Alan. At the time, I probably preferred playing the Game 3 against Dog, so I'll go with that one. It was my first max out in tournament, and it was one of those games where I kept making mistakes, but the game just kept giving me good pieces, and, you know, everyone likes to get good pieces.
So Game 5 versus Alan was crazy. Did you know how close it was towards the end?
I did not know how close it was. It was just, you can see at the moment in my face when I realized how close it was. It was just utter disbelief. When I finished my game, there was about a 15-second delay on the stream. So on the stream, we were both just entering level 28. And at that point, I thought I'd already lost because I knew that I only had 2 more Tetrises. And Alan had a potential 3 more with 1 line to burn. And you know, he's so good, I just assumed he would get them. But I got a little lucky and he was forced to burn.
So how was it playing in the finals for the first time? Does it feel different psychologically from the earlier rounds?
Personally, I find it easier. I'm most nervous in the first round. I think maybe because just early tournament jitters and stuff like that. And once I'm settled into a tournament, I tend not to get nervous. I'm just so glad I didn't, top out early 3 times and lose immediately. That would have been that wouldn't have been very interesting to watch.
All right, so final question: will you be playing in the Classic Tetris World Championships this year?
Sure, why not? Sounds like fun. Worth a shot.
All right, so the reason I ask is there was a prize up for grabs this month with a free entry. And during the CTM, I was actually on a Discord call with Jake and some others, and since he's already won, he was getting like some playful banter to throw his matches so he wouldn't be taking the prize from anyone. Yeah, so I said, hey, if he beats someone in the finals who had never won before, I would sponsor them. So I would like to sponsor you for a free entry for the CTWC this year.
What, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm completely serious.
Wow, man. I wasn't expecting that. That's so kind of you.
Well, I said I would, so I'm happy to do it. I hope you go far this year. I'll be rooting for you.
Well, then I absolutely will compete. No doubt about that. Thanks, man.
Yeah, best of luck, and thanks so much for coming on again.
Thank you.
So I have a bit of an announcement. There's some bad news, but also some good news. Bad news is, unfortunately, I gotta put the weekly uploads on pause, at least for now. It was something I really wanted to prove to myself that I could do, since I said I'd do it last year. And I think it was a success. The number of videos on this channel has basically doubled in the past 2 months. The problem is basically that the type of videos that I enjoy doing the most often simply can't be done in a week. However, the most pressing reason I'm putting the weekly uploads on pause is the good news, which just happened a few days ago. I've been hired by the folks at the CTWC for a lot of different stuff. Most of it is still being finalized, and I can't talk about any of the details, but basically there's gonna be some crazy stuff happening the next 2 to 3 months. So any spare moment I'm not working on that, I'm gonna have time to focus on one video and one video only, the 2019 recap. It's about time for it to come out. I'll make a community post when I have the final release date, and I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching.